We were told it was for flexibility, that we were choosing access over ownership because it was smarter, lighter, and more convenient. But it's a lie. We're the first generation to do everything right. Get the degree, find the job, budget our money only to see our net worth go backward every month. We pay for our apartment, we pay for our car, we pay for the software on our computers and the music on our phones. And at the end of the year, after tens of thousands of dollars are gone, we own absolutely nothing. This isn't a feeling. It's a mathematical certainty. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. While our wages have remained stagnant for nearly 40 years, the cost of a home has skyrocketed over 400%, and we're collectively drowning in a $1.7 trillion student debt tsunami. But the subscriptions, the leases, the endless monthly payments, those aren't the real trap. They are merely the bars of the cage. The real mechanism is what happens to the money after it leaves your account. Because every dollar you spend on access is a dollar spent building someone else's equity at your expense. And they are counting on you never figuring that out. This trap wasn't built overnight. Our parents entered a world where the rules, while not perfect, were at least legible. A single factory job could buy a house, raise a family, and secure a pension. Their reality was built on a simple contract. Your labor bought you tangible assets. But while they were building their lives, the architects of our economy were quietly rewriting that contract. It started in the 1980s with financial deregulation and accelerated in the early 2000s, right as we were being born. The system shifted its focus from rewarding production to rewarding financial engineering. Pensions were replaced with 401k, turning retirement from a guarantee into a gamble. Affordable state universities became billion-dollar corporations funded by our debt. We were handed a rule book for a game that had already ended, told to follow our parents' path long after the destination had been demolished. That's how they prepared the ground. They knew we'd enter the workforce burdened by historic debt and facing an economy where wages had been flat for decades. They also knew the cost of every asset we needed to build a life, a home, a car, and education was detaching from reality, driven by financial speculation, not value. The math no longer worked. A median salary could no longer afford a median home, so they created a new product to sell us, the illusion of a life we couldn't afford to own. They called it access, flexibility, and convenience. But this wasn't a choice. It was a carefully designed solution to a problem they created. It was a business model built for a generation they had already priced out of ownership. You're not losing because you're stupid. You're losing because no one taught you the real rules. And the most important rule is this: when owning becomes impossible, renting becomes mandatory. The players in this game aren't shadowy figures in a back room. They're the names on our monthly bank statements. On one side, you have institutional landlords, investment firms like BlackRock and Invitation Homes, who aren't just buying skyscrapers. They're buying the single-family homes in our neighborhoods, converting entire communities into rental portfolios. Our rent checks aren't just paying a mortgage, they're feeding a business model that needs us to be permanent tenants. Then you have the auto manufacturers and their banks, who discovered that leasing a car is far more profitable than selling one. They collect our payments for 3 years, take the car back, and then sell it, doubling their profit on a single vehicle while we walk away with empty pockets. This is how the game actually works. Every dollar we pay for access is a dollar they add to their asset column. Then there's the silent partner in all of this, the tech giants and the financial industry that props them up. Companies like Adobe and Microsoft realized they could make more money by renting us the tools we need to work, turning a one-time purchase like Photoshop into a never-ending monthly fee. Every month, a piece of our paycheck is siphoned off to them for the privilege of using something we used to own. The financial system cheers this on, rewarding companies with higher valuations for predictable, recurring revenue, while our own financial health is measured by how reliably we pay our debts, not by how much we own. They have engineered an economy where our income is perpetually transferred to asset owners, but the most insidious part isn't the payments themselves. It's the mathematical certainty of what they prevent, the decoupling of our labor from capital accumulation. Let me show you the math, because that's where the lie completely falls apart. The core of the trap is invisible because it was built into the foundations of the world we grew up in. They never taught us financial literacy in school for a reason. They showed us compound interest as a magical tool for saving, but conveniently left out that its real power is leveraged against us as a debt multiplier. turning a student loan or a credit card balance into a financial life sentence. We were told to build a good credit score, but the only way to do that is to go into debt and prove you're a reliable payer. Good little cog in their machine. Our reward for being a trustworthy debtor isn't ownership. It's just access to bigger, more efficient debt, all while inflation, the silent thief, acts as a hidden tax, eroding the value of every dollar we earn while simultaneously inflating the value of the assets owned by the people we pay our rent and lease payments to. These aren't separate problems. They are interlocking gears in a machine designed for one purpose. And the machine is supercharged by government policy that is sold to us as being for the economy, but is really for the asset class. The tax code is the blueprint. It's engineered to punish earned income, our salaries, while rewarding capital gains. The profits made by the people who own the homes we rent and the companies we work for, we are taxed at a higher rate for our labor than they are for their ownership. This creates the golden handcuffs of modern employment. We can't afford to quit our jobs, take risks, or start something new because the perpetual monthly payments for our flexible lifestyle demand a constant, uninterrupted flow of cash from our paychecks. Our income is no longer a tool for building our own lives. It has become the guaranteed revenue stream for their investment portfolios. The math doesn't lie, but you don't have to take my word for it. Let me show you the calculation. Because the numbers prove this isn't an accident. It's a design. Let's do the math. Not their fuzzy, aspirational math, but the cold, hard numbers of our reality. We'll start with the median salary for our generation, around $56,000 a year. Before you see a dime, the federal and state governments take their cut, let's call it, an average of 24%. That's $13,440 gone instantly. So your actual take-home pay is $42,560 a year. Divide that by 12, and you're working with $3,546 a month. Now, the first hand reaches into your pocket. Your landlord. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in this country is now a staggering $1,800. Just like that. Over half of your monthly income vanishes before you've even bought groceries. You're left with $1,746, but the machine is just getting started. What's left for the life they've promised you? From that $1,746, the next guaranteed payments come due. That student loan you were told was good debt. That's another $400 every single month. For the privilege of getting the job that barely pays the bills, now you're down to $1,346. Then comes healthcare, another non-negotiable subscription costing an average of $300 a month just to stay insured. Your remaining balance is now $1,046. That's what you have left for utilities. For gas in your leased car, for the food that costs more every week, and for the insane suggestion that you should be saving for a down payment, a 20% down payment on a median. $400,000 house is $80,000. If you manage to save every single remaining penny, it would take you over 6 years. But you can't because you still have to eat. This is the breaking point. The math proves that for our generation, the equation of work hard and save is mathematically insolvent. And this is where the generational comparison becomes a gut punch. Let's look at the car. The first major asset our parents bought. They took out a 5-year loan. For 5 years they made a payment, and at the end, they owned it. That car became an asset, something to sell, trade in, or drive for another decade with 0 payments. That monthly car payment disappeared from their expenses, freeing up hundreds of dollars to save, invest, or live. We, on the other hand, are sold a 3-year lease for $400 a month. After 3 years, we've spent $14,400 and own absolutely nothing. We just start over with another lease, probably at a higher price. After 10 years, our parents had an asset and 5 years of no payments. We've spent nearly $50,000 and are still on the hook for that monthly payment forever. Their payments were a bridge to ownership. Ours are a subscription to a cage. The math doesn't lie. This is the real breaking point. The moment the hamster wheel under our feet doesn't just speed up, but catches fire. After all the non-negotiable payments are siphoned from our account, we're left with that meager $1,046. Out of this, we have to pay for utilities, gas, insurance, and food, which, thanks to inflation, costs more every single week. Let's be generous and say that's another $800. We are now left with $246. $246 a month is what the system has decided our work, our degrees, and our discipline are worth. This is the mathematical proof of the trap. It is the calculated, engineered gap between our income and the cost of survival, designed to be just wide enough to keep us alive and working, but never wide enough to let us escape. We're not failing to budget, we are being budgeted. That's not advice, that's a trap. The psychological impact of this realization is devastating. It's the cold, sinking feeling that you've been running a race that was over before you were born. The anger isn't just about the money, it's the profound betrayal. We followed their rules. We studied for their tests, earned their degrees, and took their jobs. The shame and anxiety we feel about our finances were placed on us by design, to keep us from looking up and seeing the architecture of the cage. But once you see the math, you can't unsee it. You're not losing because you're stupid, you're losing because no one taught you the real rules. The system isn't a ladder we can climb. It's a treadmill designed to extract every ounce of our energy while ensuring we never take a single step forward. And our exhaustion is their profit. This is the deeper truth the numbers reveal. Our struggle is not a side effect of the system. It is the core product. This outcome is the explicit goal. For an investment firm to guarantee returns to its shareholders, it needs a permanent class of renters. For a car company to boast about predictable recurring revenue, it needs a permanent class of leasers. Our perpetually empty bank accounts are the foundation of their ever-growing asset columns. Every dollar of access we pay is a dollar of equity they accumulate. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, functioning as a perfect, silent engine for transferring wealth from the young and working to the old and owning. They need us to be tenants in our own lives, because tenants are a far more profitable and predictable asset than owners could ever be. So what happens if we keep playing? What does the math predict for the next 5 years of our lives? It's not a mystery, it's a forecast. Our debt will grow faster than we can pay it down, thanks to interest rates designed to outpace our income. Every rent increase will instantly erase any small raise we manage to negotiate at work. Building an emergency fund becomes a cruel joke, as every spare dollar is consumed by another non-negotiable subscription or an unexpected expense. We will live perpetually on a financial knife's edge, one car repair, one medical bill, one layoff away from complete disaster. It's the sensation of treading water in a current that is systematically pulling you out to sea, and every month you can feel it getting stronger. Every month your arms get a little more tired. This is the calculated instability they need to keep us compliant. Now, let's zoom out to the next 5 to 15 years. This is where the consequences become irreversible. The window for homeownership doesn't just get smaller. For most of us, it slams shut permanently. The wealth gap between our generation and the ownership class transforms from a crack in the sidewalk to an unbridgeable canyon, while homeowners see their net worth passively inflate by hundreds of thousands of dollars just by existing. We will have spent 15 years of our prime earning potential and have absolutely nothing to show for it but a stack of rent receipts. Our careers will stagnate, trapped in jobs we can't afford to leave because the risk of a single missed payment is too high. The life milestones our parents took for granted, marriage, children, stability, get delayed, and then delayed again until they become mathematical impossibilities. Finally, the long game. The 30-year horizon reveals the trap's endgame, a life with no exit. We will arrive at what used to be retirement age with zero assets, no nest egg, and the certainty of an ever-increasing rent payment. Working until we die won't be a worst-case scenario. It will be the only financial plan available. The concept of generational wealth becomes a fantasy, as we have nothing to pass down, locking our own children into the same cycle. But the most immediate consequence is the one happening inside our heads right now. The constant low-grade anxiety that plagues our generation, where 78% of us report being stressed about money, is not a personal failing. It's a feature of the system. The quiet shame that we're not doing better, the isolation of pretending we're fine while we're quietly drowning, that was engineered to keep us from talking to each other, from comparing the numbers. This is not personal failure. This is systematic extraction. So this is it. This is the moment you stop playing their game and start seeing the board. The only principle that matters now is a brutal conscious audit of every dollar that leaves your account, asking one question: is this payment building my future, or is it building theirs? This isn't about finding a secret hack or a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about a fundamental mindset shift from chasing access to clawing your way toward equity. It means rejecting the advice they gave us, the credit scores, the good debt, the flexible lifestyle, and realizing every piece of it was a carefully baited hook. This is hard. It requires sacrifice because the system was engineered to punish savers and reward debtors. But the game changes the second you understand the rules. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. And your freedom doesn't start when you have more money, it starts the moment you decide where your money will no longer go. This clarity is the only weapon we have. You are no longer a victim failing to budget. You are a player who has finally seen the rigged mechanics. The shame they placed on us evaporates when you realize the math was never meant to work in our favor. You pay for your home and car every month. So do owners. The only difference is their payments build their wealth. Who is yours building? That is the question that should haunt you, the one that must now guide every financial decision you make. And just when you think you've seen the full extent of the trap, you realize the subscriptions were just the cage they built around us? The one asset they did encourage us to own is where the final heist takes place. Because the money in your 401k isn't waiting for you. It's being eaten alive by fees you were never meant to see.